The world, it moves too fast, doesn't it? We rush through conversations, we rush through meals, and most tragically, we rush through the very moments that are meant to define our connection to the feminine. We live in a state of constant, frantic acceleration, and in that speed, we lose the language of the soul. You see, a woman's body is a finely tuned instrument of intuition. It doesn't lie, it cannot lie. Even when her mind is busy with 1,000 thoughts, her skin is listening. When she stands before you, her nervous system is reading yours at a frequency you aren't even aware of. But most men are deaf to this frequency. They wait for a sign, they wait for a word. They wait for a green light that has actually been flashing in the silence for the last 10 minutes, but they were too busy thinking to feel it. They never feel the difference until the opportunity has already evaporated into the cold, thin air of what could have been. Think about the hugs you've given, hundreds of them, thousands. They are social currency, nothing more. A polite squeeze for a colleague, a dutiful embrace for a relative, a quick, hollow touch for a friend to say goodbye. These touches are empty. They are polite. They are safe. And because they are safe, they are utterly painfully forgettable. They leave no mark. They create no ripple in the deep water of her consciousness. But then there is that rare instance. The air in the room seems to thicken. It becomes heavy with an unspoken weight. You move toward each other and the world just falls away. Her body against yours doesn't recoil. It doesn't perform that awkward, distant lean of a platonic friend. It lingers. In that 3-second window, that tiny, shimmering sliver of time that most men blink and miss, something primal occurs. It is a shift in the tectonic plates of attraction. She isn't using her voice, but her skin is screaming. Research tells us that physical touch activates the brain's reward system within mere milliseconds, but we aren't talking about simple comfort here. We aren't talking about that everything will be okay. Hug. We are talking about the touch that awakens a hunger she might have been suppressing all evening. Most men miss this because they are too busy in their heads rehearsing what to say next. They are trapped in their logic while she is offering them a map to her desire. You must understand a fundamental truth about human connection. Touch is never neutral. Every point of contact is a carrier of intent. Every slight shift in the pressure of your palm, every adjustment of your stance, every second you refuse to pull away, it all tells a story. It is a story of dominance, of safety, of lust, and of presence. The difference between being the nice guy she trusts and the man she craves isn't found in your bank account. It is found in the microscopic adjustments of your hands during a single, quiet embrace. Most men spend their lives speaking a broken dialect of this language. They hug a woman they desire with the same energy they use for their aunt at a Christmas party. And then they wonder. They wonder why the spark never catches. They wonder why she smiles politely, steps back, and suddenly mentions she has an early morning. The moment evaporates because you didn't hold the container. You didn't give her a reason to stay. This matters because the men who truly master the art of touch, not as a trick, but as an extension of their own grounded masculinity, operate in a different dimension of reality. They don't need to perform. They don't need to try to be attractive. They simply understand that the body is the gateway. When skin makes contact with skin, the floodgates of oxytocin open. But here is the secret the textbooks leave out. The type of touch determines the type of bond. A handshake is a contract. A pat on the back is a friendship, but there are specific hidden touches that are strategically, yet naturally, placed that bypass her logical brain entirely. They go straight to the limbic system. They light up the hypothalamus. They tell her brain to associate your very scent, your very warmth with a reward she cannot explain, but she will certainly chase. Behavioral psychology suggests that a woman's subconscious makes a definitive assessment of your sexual chemistry within the first 3 points of physical contact, not 3 weeks of dating, not 3 hours of deep conversation, 3 touches. And most men, out of a fear of being too much, waste every single one of those touches on forgettable, neutered contact. They play it safe. And in playing it safe, they become invisible. Imagine the scene, the lights are low, maybe the music has faded into a hum. It is that transitionary moment, the end of the night, the moment of parting. She moves toward you. In this second, your autopilot wants to take over. It wants to give the polite hug. It wants to protect your ego from rejection by ensuring the touch is brief and non-committal. But there is another path, a path of mastery, a path where a simple hug becomes the catalyst for a night she will replay in her mind until the sun comes up. Let us look at the first hidden touch. The lower back anchor. Most men, when they go in for a hug, they aim high. Their arms wrap around the shoulders or the upper back near the shoulder blades. Why? Because it's safe, it's distant. It's the zone hug. It keeps the lower bodies apart. It signals a lack of sexual intent. But look at the man who is truly in tune with his own desire and hers, his hands. They don't land on the shoulders. They land lower. They find the small of the back, that delicate inward curve where the spine begins its descent toward the hips. This area is a neurological goldmine. The lower back is mapped differently in the brain than the upper back. It is more sensitive. It is more intimate. It is directly connected to nerve pathways that the conscious mind likes to ignore in polite society, but the body remembers vividly. When your hand lands there, flat, warm, and steady, you are not just hugging her, you are claiming space. You are telling her without a single word that you are comfortable in her intimate zone, that you belong there, that you aren't a guest. You are the host. The pressure is the most important part. It shouldn't be aggressive, never grab, but it must never, ever be tentative. Tentative touch feels like a question. It feels like you're asking, is this okay? Am I allowed to be here? And nothing kills a woman's desire faster than a man who needs permission to be a man. Your palm should be flat. Your fingers should be spread slightly with your thumb resting naturally. This communicates a grounded certainty. It says, I have you. And when a woman feels that a man truly has her, she can finally stop holding herself up. She can melt. Now, think about the transition. The hug has begun. Your hand is anchored at the small of her back. Most men stop here. They stay static. They wait for the clock to run out. But you understand the second touch, the shoulder blade draw. As you hold her, you don't just stand there like a statue. You begin to move, not a dance, but a slow, almost invisible migration of your hands. They travel from that lower anchor, sliding upward along the sides of her rib cage. You aren't groping. You are tracing. Your fingers are mapping her. This light, traveling pressure activates every nerve ending along the way, sending signals to her brain that this is not a static event. This is a process. When your hands finally reach the shoulder blades, you do something most men are too afraid to do. You draw her in, not a yank, not a pull that throws her off balance. Draw is an invitation. By applying inward pressure to the shoulder blades, you guide her chest to press against yours, you eliminate the air between you, you create full body contact. In that moment, when there is no longer any space between your heart and hers, her nervous system makes a final call. Is this safe? Is this electric? The shoulder blade draw, when done with this slow, intentional tempo, registers as the ultimate combination of protection and pursuit. It is the physical manifestation of a man who can provide her with a sanctuary while simultaneously stoking the fire of her desire. Most men can only do one or the other. They are either the safe guy who provides no spark or the dangerous guy who provides no security. But when you draw her in like this, you are telling her body that you are both. Now, as she is pressed against you, as the space between your bodies has vanished, we enter the realm of the truly bold. We enter the territory that separates the boys from the men, the third touch, the neck whisper. This is where most men retreat. They feel the heat rising. They feel the tension tightening like a coiled spring between their chests, and they panic. They think they've gone too far. They think they need to break the spell before it becomes too real. But you are going to lean into that fire as the hug continues, and this is no longer a greeting. This is a shared moment in time. One of your hands begins its ascent. It leaves the shoulder blade. It slides slowly up the side of her neck. Your fingers don't grab, they don't clutch. They slide gently into the hair at the nape of her neck, your thumb. Your thumb settles softly against the side of her throat, right where her pulse is racing. Your palm cradles the back of her skull. Do you understand what you are doing in this moment? The neck is one of the most vulnerable parts of the human anatomy. It contains the carotid artery, the jugular vein, the very structures that keep us alive. When you touch a woman there, and she doesn't pull away, when she tilts her head slightly into your palm, she is giving you the ultimate biological yes. Her limbic system has run 1,000 calculations in a heartbeat and decided that you are a predator she wants to be caught by. But there is more. The skin at the nape of the neck is incredibly thin. It is hypersensitive. It is an erogenous gateway that most men never bother to unlock. When your fingers are buried in her hair and your thumb is resting on her pulse, you aren't just holding her head. You are activating the neural pathways of intimacy. Because you are this close, your breath is now a tangible thing against her skin. She can feel the warmth of your exhale. She can hear the resonance of your heartbeat. Your proximity to her ear means that even the slightest shift in your breathing becomes a symphony of desire to her. Notice her breathing. If you are doing this right, if you are being truly present, her breath will change. It will catch for a second. Then it will become deeper, slower. Her body is surrendering to the tension you've created. This is the neck whisper. Not because you are speaking words into her ear, But because your touch is whispering things to her nervous system that her mind hasn't even dared to think yet, most men break here. They feel that shift in her energy and they get scared of the power they've invoked. They pull back, they make a joke, they shatter the container. Don't you dare shatter it, hold it, breathe through it. Let the tension sit in the air like a heavy fog, the man who can stay grounded while a woman's pulse is racing under his thumb. That is the man she will never ever forget. But we aren't done. As the tension reaches its peak, we move to the fourth touch, the hip recognition. Hips, they don't lie, not metaphorically, literally. The positioning of a woman's hips during a hug is the most honest map of her attraction you will ever find. If she is angled away, if there is a gap at the waist, she is keeping a part of herself back. She is protecting her core, but if she is square to you, if her hips are pressed into yours, the green light is no longer flashing. It is steady. It is an invitation. As your other hand remains anchored at her lower back, let it drift, not a jump, not a grab, a drift. Let it slide casually, naturally to the side. Let it settle on her hip, right where the bone creates that beautiful, sharp curve, right where her body transitions from the softness of her waist to the strength of her legs. This touch is possessive. There is no other word for it. It is the touch of a man who knows his value and acknowledges hers. It isn't nice. It isn't polite. It is raw. It is a statement that says, I see you, not as a friend. But as a woman, most men treat desire like it's something shameful, something they have to hide behind respect and boundaries that she never asked for. They treat her like a porcelain doll that might break if they show a hint of hunger. But women are tired of being treated like glass. They want to be felt. They want to know that their beauty has an effect on you. Your hand on her hip, firm and certain, provides that validation. It tells her that you aren't afraid of your own masculinity. It tells her that you aren't asking for permission to want her, you just do. And that level of honesty, it's intoxicating, it's a drug. Now, we move into the most powerful weapon in your arsenal. The one that requires no movement at all. Touch 5, the temporal stretch. Time is a weapon. Most men use it poorly. They think the move is what matters, the pressure, the location. And yes, those are the ingredients, but time is the heat that cooks the meal. 3, second hug is a greeting. 7, second hug is a moment. A 15-second hug is a transgression. It is a sexual event. The temporal stretch is the art of refusing to release. You hold the hug longer than social convention says you should. You ignore the polite window of time where most people pull apart and start checking their phones or looking for the next person to talk to. You stay. You let the silence grow. You let the world continue to spin outside the circle of your arms while inside that circle, time stands still. Something miraculous happens around the 12-second mark. The analytical brain, the part of her that's worrying about what time it is, or if she left the stove on, or what you think of her, it finally gives up. It shuts down. Her nervous system takes over. Oxytocin levels peak. Cortisol, the stress hormone, drops through the floor. The noise of her life fades into a dull hum, and all she can feel is the warmth of your chest, the scent of your skin, and the weight of your hands. In this extended embrace, she begins to associate you with a sense of peace and safety that is incredibly rare in this modern frantic world. You aren't rushing her. You aren't trying to get somewhere. Your presence is the rarest gift you can give another human being. Most men are always 3 steps ahead. They are hugging her while thinking about the bedroom. They are talking to her while thinking about the next point. But when you master the temporal stretch, you are telling her that this moment, right here, right now, with her head against your chest, the only place you want to be. And when a woman feels that you are truly present, she will give you everything. But even the most beautiful moments must end. And how you end it, that is the difference between a memory and a legend. The 6th touch, the release, linger. Most men blow it at the very end. They've done everything right. The anchor, the draw, the whisper, the hip, the stretch. And then they snap. They release too quickly. They break the contact completely. Their hands drop to their sides. And they step away. The tension which you've spent so much time building just pops like a balloon. It's gone. The release linger is the art of the slow fade. As you finally begin to create distance, your hands do not leave her body. They slide slowly down her back, across the curve of her hips, along the length of her arms as you step back. Your skin stays in contact with hers until the very last possible millisecond. You hold her hands for a heartbeat longer than necessary. This does 2 things to her brain. First, it extends the sensory experience. Even as you are standing 2 feet away from her, her skin is still registering the ghost of your touch. She can still feel your palms. She can still feel the heat. You have left a physical mark on her nervous system that will linger long after you've left the room. Second, it creates a void. By building the tension and then releasing it so slowly, You create an intense craving for the next time you've given her a taste of what it feels like to be truly handled by a man who knows what he's doing. And now, as you stand there, looking her in the eyes, she is left with one question. If a hug felt like that, what would everything else feel like? This is not about tricks. It is not about manipulation. It is about understanding the biological reality of attraction. It is about being the kind of man who isn't afraid to lead, isn't afraid to want, and isn't afraid to stay in the silence until it speaks. Attraction is not a choice she makes with her head. It is a reaction she feels in her blood, and the language of the blood is touch. You can keep living in the world of the polite and the safe. You can keep giving those forgettable, hollow hugs and wondering why the women you desire always seem to drift away. Or you can choose to speak the language. If you are ready to stop being invisible, if you are ready to master the hidden frequencies of connection, then stay with me. Subscribe to this channel and join the small percentage of men who understand what is truly happening beneath the surface. Leave a comment below. Tell me, have you ever felt that shift in the air? Have you ever felt a woman melt because you refused to be the first to pull away? Share your story, and until next time, remember, the world is waiting for you to stop asking for permission. Stay present, stay grounded, and never ever rush the moment.